welcome to the podcast. Thank you for taking time to be here, man. Appreciate it. You're busy with family. This is rad. I'm really excited to actually have you on. It's pretty cool, man.
Pretty excited. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is cool. So to get this started, really, so everybody knows you are the mayor of Lakewood.
I am the mayor of Lakewood. Yeah.
Let's go. That's pretty big. But it's interesting how I just met you tonight.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
But how you and Jordan met.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys want to tell that story real quick.
Well, it's a classic story, Tim.
Yeah.
You know?
Classified.
I actually was looking at some golf stuff and so kindly found something that Ariel was selling. And now that's how we end up having a little small talk, talking about what I did. And I just kind of threw it out there. And he's like, oh, I'm actually like the mayor of Lakewood. I'm like, no way.
Get out of here.
This is way too casual of a conversation. I feel like I should have been standing up straighter
So
or
humble.
something, being around.
Wait, I didn't tell you that, did I?
Yeah.
Straight out?
I'm embellishing a little.
I was gonna say.
Eventually, no, it wasn't like, I'm a mayor.
Yeah. He wasn't arrogant about it.
Not at all. That's why when you said it, I was like, I felt like my response is like, no way, really? Like, okay. And like, not that every person in a position like that can't be cool and seem normal. You know what I mean? Like in that way, but just wasn't ready for that. And so I immediately was like, do you want to come on the podcast? And just, anyways, it kind of worked out that way. And the launch monitor I got is super rad. Awesome. And now it's publicly known that I really appreciate it. So.
Yeah, they should be a sponsor of this show.
I know you two. So you two connected pretty much because of golf.
Yeah, and you smelled like surf wax out of the blue. I don't know what it was. You smelled like surf wax, bro. Like
I ran out of deodorant. And I just hit the pants with some sticky bumps.
And I was looking in your truck. I was like, did he have one of those thingies hanging?
Oh yeah, the one smells like wax.
Yeah, I'm like. Yeah,
I just naturally smell like sticky bumps
because you surf so much, baby. I love it.
Well, maybe I used to, but not as much anymore.
Oh well, Ariel, this is okay. Let's get this straight. Can we just call you Ari? Is that what people call you?
Call me Ari.
All right, Ari. I love it, man.
Yep.
Man, this is cool. This is a big deal. We've never had a mayor on here, so we really appreciate your time.
Awesome. First,
but man, I kind of read up on you a little bit. So you're homegrown Lakewood.
Yes, sir.
Same here.
Homegrown Lakewood.
Yeah, I grew up in Lakewood. So I grew up across the street from Airplane Park, Del Val Park.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my parents are still there.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my brother lives in Lakewood. His family. My first two homes are in Lakewood, and then I just moved down the street over here in Long Beach.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm here, but yeah, that's where we grew up, man.
So you need my number so they can all complain to me.
No, we'll leave
that
the
wasn't the reason.
It's my job, man. That's my job.
Dude, it's all good. But so you were also, I think I read you were the first. What is it?
The first Filipino American on Lakewood City Council ever in the history.
Let's go. What year was that?
What year?
Yeah.
It was 2020 when I first got elected.
Wow, what got you into politics?
Man, that's a good story. I think politics found me.
Okay.
Not a politician. I am a public servant, though, man.
I like that.
I'm a public servant. I'm a chronic volunteer. And I think it found me because of, I guess you can say, like, being Filipino and being Catholic, growing up around this area where it's all about sports. You go to church, you help. You help family, you help friends. When your uncle needs you to come by, when your friends need your help, you just help, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened to me was I worked in corporate America. I worked in the action sports sector. So I worked for Vans.
Oh, okay.
I was on Vans' global marketing team for about 9 years.
Look at you,
Yeah,
dude.
9 years. So I worked with all the big dogs.
Some heavy hitters.
Yeah, some heavy hitters.
Okay.
They're the ones that really changed the game, right? I truly believe. But I also worked at the brand when it was still that brand, that fun brand. You walk into work and you just grind. You just work and you just don't know you're working so much because you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
And then, long story short, got married and had a little one.
Yeah,
Right?
baby, them kids.
Dude. And she's like the raddest little human I look back and just like our conversation before we walked in.
Yeah.
We had water polo this morning. Now she's golfing and she also surfs, right? So
Oh, she surfs.
and snowboards.
Oh, what?
We do
That's
it all.
huge, man.
So I left corporate America probably, let's say 15 years ago. She's 15. I left corporate America, right? And I left Vans.
Okay.
And I left this huge safety net, like, and this amazing, like, brand life, like going to school. I went to St. John Bosco.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to Bosco. I actually want to go to Lakewood because I played Pop Warner for Lakewood, and I want to play baseball for Lakewood.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how old you are. I'm pretty old.
I'm 37.
You guys are young bucks.
Yeah, I don't feel
Like late 80s, early 90s this area was pretty tough, man. Like gang activity was pretty heavy. And all the kids I played sports with, it was easy to get swayed, right? Because like the homies from Long Beach, and all the Pop Warner kids and all the Patrick Henry kids I played baseball with. I mean, and then we just had it was so diverse, but could be easily swayed. So eventually Dad's like, you're going to Bosco. I'm like, what?
I went to Calvary Chapel Downey.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You get it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, and he's like, I'm like, didn't have an 8th grade after, because I went to St. Pancratius, and then I didn't have an 8th grade summer.
Okay.
I went right into football. Had an amazing time, man. Like, I mean, the program now is completely different. Yeah. I mean, kudos to the boys that smashed it this weekend.
Nice.
Smashed Mater Dei, kept them at 0.
Mater Dei?
It's
really?
Mater Dei.
They 28-0.
28-0.
You don't even know. I've never seen that in my life.
Whoa.
And it was like two tanks fighting each other. It was just like, I mean, even though the scores got to where like 14-0, it still didn't seem like it was a free game. Like there was work. But anyways, so going back from Bosco, and then had a little one, and I had grown up in this area, right? You want to start a clothing line.
That's true.
Because
so
all me and the boys did in the neighborhood was surf and ride dirt bikes, right?
Yeah.
That's all we did. And we go camp in Baja, and then we go down up north, and then we're in Glamis, doing the whole thing. And then start a clothing line, and then bought some printing equipment, and then started a small brand. Then I turned the business. Then I figured out someone would pay me to make their shirts.
Yeah.
And then that was the garage business, so I can buy more sleds, so I can buy more surfboards and buy more motorcycle parts, right? And then when I left corporate America, I scaled my garage business up. So chased all like the parochial schools and PE printing, T-shirts.
Smart. Very smart.
Just chased it so I can be home, man, because I traveled a lot when I was working for the big companies. I mean, you're gone. I mean, don't get me wrong, working for big brands is amazing, but it's a grind.
Yeah.
Like you're on the road, you have inspiration tours, you have sales meetings, and you have trade shows, and trade shows, people like, I remember my wife's like, dude, like, you're never home. Like, I mean, like during the day, you didn't call me. I'm like, yeah, because I'm at the trade show booth from 7 a.m. till like 5 p.m. And then the beer starts flowing at 3. And then the dinners start at like 4. Then the pre-parties start. And then you still have athletes you got to take care of. And those guys just want to rage wherever we're at, right? It's like 5 days straight. Then you go to another state and then see it again, like going down to Florida.
Yeah.
So it was a grind. And then, so I scaled it up. Like anything, you start a small business, you kind of, you find networking circles, right? And my friend goes, you need to join the Rotary Club of Lakewood. I'm like, Rotary? And I was thinking cars, right? Like, and she's like, not cars, Ari. It's like a service organization. You would fit right in. And prior to that, I had a couple events. I would feed the homeless. I ran this program that my mom and dad and all my friends did. We'd feed like 500 people in Long Beach, delivered to 3 towers. We did it for 30 years strong until the pandemic hit, right? And then she was like, you'd fit right in. I'm like, all right. So I joined this club, and I was like mind blown. Like it was service above self, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I fit right in because it's part of my DNA. I was all about volunteering. Volunteering's not like a hassle to me. It's like something you naturally do. Hey, go volunteer, go help.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Like it's like I didn't like have a choice. Like it was just part of my DNA. So being part of this organization now put me with people that had the same mentality, right? Now it's not just friends helping you do things. It's now you're with like elected leaders, you're with like municipal employees, you're with CEOs, retired educators. Now you're with like educators, school districts, and it's like, whoa. But again, it was about service. And that's for me when the doors opened, So I became active, and they said, hey, we need help growing our club. I'm like, all right, I'll take on the marketing background, right? So I just taught a bunch of old people how to use Facebook, right? So just think of me like running this meeting. We had this old guard and this new guard, like the old generation that was there that were understanding what the new generation wanted to do. And it was cool because there was not conflict. I was like the time where I was bridging the two the two age demographics together to do the same thing, like service above self, right? But now let's share it to the younger generation. But I would start meetings like teaching, okay, this is how you log on Facebook. Now this thing runs. Like I have all my old people scanning and taking pictures and reposting, and everybody's watching
that's perfect.
it. Yeah, it's amazing. And then being part of Rotary just opened more doors.
Yeah.
So here goes YMCA. Hey, would you like to join our board? I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. Next thing you know, I'm the board chair for 2 years. And I was the president of the Rotary Club. And then YMCA led to Chamber of Commerce. Okay, board chair there, and then 2 years there, and grow that and build that. And it just kept going. Like Pathways, Knights of Columbus. Then it came, now it's in like St. Joseph High School. I serve on the board. Long Beach City College Foundation Board. I serve on the regional hospital board, bro. Yeah, and it's
where do you keep all the badges?
I know.
How big's your wallet?
Dude,
I feel super lazy right now.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
man,
I thought I was
dude.
busy, but apparently
not busy enough.
I'm elected leader locally, man. I don't have no
love it,
money,
dude.
man, but I'm blessed, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, and then my friends that are like big CFOs, like, dude, you got way too much on your plate. I'm like, bro, you work for a corporation. When you work for big corporations, you have access to program development. What's my program? How am I going to grow as a person?
Yeah.
Boards, meet networking circles, boom, boom, boom. Let me learn how these people do it and kind of bring it on.
Yeah, I've definitely learned that it is all about connecting with people.
Yeah.
When you want to do well and go somewhere, you can't do it alone.
No.
You got to be involved.
Yeah.
That's the way to get your name out, your brand.
Yeah.
Now, is your company, is it in Lakewood?
It is. So I had a printing business. Then I opened a door. Like I opened off Delamo in Woodruff. I had it for 6 years. I turned it into like this, like a man's cave / art creative,
Nice.
where we can print, do live printing. We can do run production at the same time, host events there. And we'd have not music festivals. We'd have like music events, and then we'd have like car shows, fundraisers, the whole 9 yards.
Delamo Woodruff. Where
It was right next to the liquor store, Johnny's Liquor.
Oh,
That was that spot.
Man,
Yeah.
Okay,
That
I know
was
exactly
me.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're like, what did you?
I was like, for the record, I don't know where that is.
Yeah, it's
But
just
it
the Lakewood
sounds
local
great.
boys, dog.
Yeah,
Dude, that's
yeah.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
just the whole process of starting it up, and it's what I find interesting. So, like, when you left, like, corporate or Vans, right?
Scary, just let you know.
100%, because what you said, the safety net, and I can only imagine, like, married kid.
Carry kids,
like,
house. I
you're,
got a
like,
house, got a mortgage.
There's a ton on the line when you make a big jump like that. So kudos, and obviously it seems to have worked out fantastically.
Still alive.
But well, right, still trucking, baby.
Yeah.
But when that took place, how long was it before Because it seems like you maybe jumped into the like the selling of doing the screen printing
yeah.
and whatnot. But when that point, like, how long did it take before you got into like the Rotary and started entering in towards the Chamber of Commerce and stuff?
So right when I got into printing, I was printing already. So it wasn't like I was going from being a startup business. I already had clients because I was a side hustle.
Yeah.
It was a side hustle. Like, hey, let me make an extra like 500 so I can get some blanks and get some new sleds, shaped out, right? And then, so I had clients. I was just able to do the business during the day now because I always had to do it at night through emails.
Gotcha.
So I already had the business, but going to the Rotary, that was just friends of friends. I mean, the saying, your network is your net worth. Like at one point in time, someone found me just through volunteering. And then she's like, dude, you need to join the club. I'm like, okay. So I think it was probably about no more than like less than a month is what it was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because this is how it happened. It was on a Sunday, and then we were gonna go visit my grandma. She was at a home, and my wife. We went to church. My wife and daughter were like, "Hey, we're gonna take a nap at Grandma and Grandpa's house before we go." And I said, "All right, cool. I'm going to the car show." So Lakewood had a car show that day. So I rode the car show by myself just to go check it out because I like cars, and it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Kennedy rolls, and he's a knight, That's Columbus. And I rent, and they had a booth. Rotary had a booth, and she's like, "Ari, you need to join this club." And I'm like, "That's what happened." I went to the car show to go look at cars, and they had a booth, and they were just kind of marketing their booth there. And they go, "You fit ready and come to the meeting next Thursday." I'm like, "All right, I'll be there." Haven't left yet.
Wow. Now, all these connections that you made, if I want to remember this correctly, you started in city council first, right?
No,
No, you went straight to mayor.
no.
Where'd you start?
I started on the Rotary,
Right.
became board members.
Right.
And then I got the tap on the shoulder. So as when I was the board chair for the Chamber of Commerce,
Okay.
I got the tap. The mayor tapped me on the shoulder, goes, "Hey, you need to consider something." So when he told me that, I was like, "Whoa!" The mayor just tapped me on the shoulder. I know him just like this, just seeing him, right?
Yeah.
But we weren't like, I mean, we're not like bro, bra, right? Bro, brows, right? He's like, I said, "Come to my house and have coffee," and I'm thinking. I'm like, let me get on a commission.
Yeah.
Build me a skate park in Lakewood. Build me a wave pool in Lakewood.
Yeah.
I get my say, tired of these old things. I want like some cool rock climbing gyms in Lakewood. And then he's like, he just pushed. I don't even think we had coffee now that I think about it.
Just right to business.
He just shoved over this thick deck of paper. And I was like, "What's this?" He goes, "You need to run for council." I'm like, "What?"
Oh, wow.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I would say it too.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd be
I'm
like, me? You want me to do
That's exact. That's the second thing I said. Exactly. Right. Then he's like, "Hey, this is the reason why. You're from Lakewood. Your parents are from Lakewood. You grew up in Lakewood. You're a product of this community. You give back. People know who you are not by telling your story. People are telling your story for you." I was like, "Okay," but I didn't see it that way, right?
Yeah.
You're just a volunteer. Mm-hmm. And then when I look back, it was weird because when you serve on multiple organizations, you look back, right? And when he said people tell your story, I was like, "What? Like, who's telling my story?" And he first thinking like your social platform, right? And I realized certain conversations. I remember vividly when we had the car show when I was the board chair for a chamber, and I was in charge of the car show. We had Congresswoman Linda Sanchez there, Speaker Emeritus Speaker Anthony Rendon there. We had some pretty big elected officials, you know, in the state Congress that was there, and then all council was there. So I was standing there and I got introduced to them, and I go, "Hey, my name is Ariel Pay, just the board chair of Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for coming out and saying a few words." And then they're like, "Okay." And then someone else would say, "Hey, he's the board chair there. He's on the YMCA.
Right.
He does this, 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 and this." And I was like, yeah. That felt good.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't propagating it. I wasn't telling anybody. I just do it.
It happened naturally. It was organic.
Yeah.
And you do the work and people will see, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Did he convince you that night, or were you like, "Hey, let me go home and like stew on this for a little bit"?
No, I went home and my wife watched TV. I sit down next to my wife, she's sitting like right there. And I'm like, "Hey, hon, what's up?" I go, "How'd your meeting go?" She goes, "I went good. He wants me to run for council." She's like, "What?" I'm like,
Is that what you think of me, babe? Yeah. Is that what you think of me?
Like, what does that mean?
she's like, "How are you going to fit that in?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I go, "What do you think?" I said to her, I go, "Hey, this is a us thing.
Oh, yeah.
This ain't about me because
You go, she's going, bro.
Yeah, you go, and then that means our lives will be a little shifted because we have little one, we have sports, and you had to ask my mom and dad too.
Yeah.
"Mom, Dad, I'm running for council." Huh?
Yeah.
And my parents, there's no political. They have no political
action or anything in the background.
anything. They're like conservative. They're just Lakewood, work hard, retire. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are immigrants. They got here. Their boys went to a good school. They're educated.
Yeah.
We did our job. We don't need to shake the system up. We just want to go on vacation, hang out, and hang out with our friends. Yeah, right. And then they're just like, "Huh?" I'm like, my dad's like looking at me like, "Yeah." And then with my marketing background, we just ran. I didn't even know what the first thing to do was.
Right.
When I said, "Okay, I'm going to do this," and I told them, "Okay, do this," okay, and they go, "Let me know if you need help." I'm like, I don't even know what to ask.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was going to ask you, man.
Yeah, I didn't know.
How does that because when you get asked that, it's like, okay, you represent a lot of pieces of stuff at the moment, and like it sounds like you've been a very hardworking kind of grinder type.
Volunteer is what I am.
Right. Yeah. Just whether it's volunteering, whatever, trying to make everything work. When you had that, what was what was that next thought process of once it's like you kind of get past okay, I'm gonna do it. Like, what was the first thing that you have to how do you do you secure some sort of popularity or secure some sort of, obviously I know there's financing and things like that go into running.
Yeah.
But what was that first step basically, if you kind of remember how you felt and
yeah. So I just sat there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to run for council. What do I do next? I don't know. There's no book on this.
Yeah.
I think there is. I didn't go and search how to run a campaign because I knew marketing. I knew strategic branding, you know, I knew messaging, I knew, you know, your like for marketing, it's like print, social, like your web platform, and then community development, right? If you can manage all three of those and find monies for that, then you're good. You can tell a story, right?
Yeah.
And but it was still, it's politics, right? I knew I'd zero. The only political circle I had was a TV. Like, I don't know any in politics outside of the council people that I run into at events.
Yeah.
Right, because they would come to my events, like my homeless feeding and my turkey and my Thanksgiving Day. They would come to my events.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. They're like,
clout, dude. And I'm like, exactly. I didn't know. I'm just doing my thing, right? Like with my friends and family, and kids are teaching kids like this big how to use a knife and debone a turkey. But again, and then a good friend they referred me to another friend of his, and he was a political like campaign manager, right?
Okay.
And then I sat with him, and he's like, "Okay, let's do this." And then I guess, how does this all work? How does people get paid? What do you got to do? You got to raise money. Who do I ask? I never ask for money. Dude,
That's tough, dude.
or sorry, I mean, I never ask for money. Like no, like that's not my jam, right? You know, you need to like start putting a list together, and I'm like, where do I start, right? And then, but he got me to understand the whole like broad scope of what has to happen, messaging. Okay. But I think for him, he goes, it's easy for me to tell your story. The problem is I can't grab everything because you have so much shit going on. Okay, cussed?
Yeah, you're fine. No, you're fine.
We have so much shit going on. I can't grab everything. I can tell your story. That's the thing. Versus somebody that's, hey, I'm going to run, and they have to start making stuff up. They couldn't grab everything that I was doing because
you're involved so much.
I was full tilt, going, just having fun, doing what I do.
Yeah.
And then we ran a campaign. We raised money because I had to ask people and had a kickoff party and had people talk and do the wine and dine thing. Wow. And like, I mean, campaign parties or kickoffs are like 2 hours max, dude. It's perfect, dude. They're not like drawn out parties, right?
Okay.
And then we raised money, we won, and in that 2020 election, there was seven of us running for 2 seats.
Wow.
So I was the second top vote getter. My first time, I was probably like around, I want to say 1,000 votes under the incumbent that's been on council for almost 8-9 years.
That's excellent.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was
That's
like less around 1,000, a little bit more shy. Yeah. And I was like, because there was a gap between us two and then everybody else.
Yeah. So when you go, you got city council. Now, how tough was it between the two, going for mayor and city council? Was there a big difference?
No.
Pretty much the same. You just like copy paste type of thing, but hey, I'm going for mayor.
No. So Lakewood, the mayorship gets transitioned.
Okay. So
you have to get on council, and when you're on council, your council term is 4 years, and then the mayor gets handed to you once in your 4-year term.
Wow.
So you get handed it. So basically, we make decisions based on the 5 of us, but I'm the face.
I get it. Okay.
That's how it happens in Lakewood. But Long Beach and LA, they're elected mayors.
Right.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Dude, you are just going for it, my man. Something I want to hit on, actually ask you. You said your parents are immigrants.
Yeah.
What's that story?
Oh, so
how did they come over here?
Okay.
And where are they from?
Okay, so my parents are from the Philippines.
Okay.
My father's an engineer and my mother's a nurse, obviously because she's Filipino. So you guys are probably young, but
standard.
Yeah. So my father was recruited to come to work here in the U.S. because he was an engineer.
Really?
And then they needed nurses. So he came to work he got recruited by Firestone, which is now the Citadel.
Right.
And then he worked for a firm and retired there after like.
What year was that? Were you born here? You were born
I was born here, yeah.
Okay, so you're first generation.
First generation, yeah. So I was born in Culver City, but grew up in Cherry Cove.
Okay.
You know what Cherry Cove is?
Oh yeah.
We were one of the first Filipino families in Cherry Cove.
Look at what the heck, dude.
Dude, I got called out on that, dude.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Because my first election, so I'm campaigning, right? And let me tell you a story. It's funny. I'm campaigning, and I sit down with the guy, Dick Brown, that owns Glory Days.
Oh my gosh.
He's an OG Lakewood guy, right?
Yeah. Over there, Viking Way.
No, this one's off Delamo and Woodruff.
Okay.
No, Carson and Woodruff.
Carson and Woodruff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Across the street from YMCA. And then he's like, hey, you grew up in Cherry Cove, right? And I said, yes, sir. And we were just like talking because, like support. Can I put a sign in front of your place? Mm-hmm. He's like, do you know the Youngblood family? And I was like, whoa. I said, yes, sir, I do. So the Youngblood family was an African-American family I grew up with in Cherry Cove. I went to military school with, because all of us lived in Cherry Cove. We went to either Bret Hart or we went to military school, which was in Signal Hill back in the days. And he's like, I said, yes, sir, I do. I do know the Youngblood family and the Williams family. He's like, okay, you're an OG Lakewood guy too. I was like, oh God.
Oh, that's rad. What a small world.
Dude, it was like, I was like, whoa, like,
Yeah, that's awesome. The story of the process of how you got to where you're at is pretty amazing, man. And I just want to say, because you said something about it earlier, and you're talking about, you're like being Filipino and kind of just a family culture of like, you help each other out, like no questions asked. It wasn't even like a thought process to do things, and how you parlay that into volunteer work, and you just do it. Right. Yeah. I just like my wife's Filipino. And so seeing some of the cultural stuff of the family, it's like anytime, anything. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, they'll like drop of the hat, some good, bad, and indifferent. It's just, you just do it. Right. And it's like, and I think that's a unique trait. Yeah. And it's interesting to see, because obviously I've met a ton of politicians and that kind of stuff, but having that background, to me, that makes so much more sense as far as having the volunteer base, right? You just kind of get involved, do your thing, and whether it's for money, charity, whatever, you're just like, hey, like I'm here to help, Yeah. And I could see how that made you very likable and in that way, right? And obviously probably can towards your success of this so far. And dude, that's awesome. And my next question is, how long are your terms, and are you going to run again?
Whoa.
Well,
is that too weird? Is that a weird question?
No, it's not weird. I'm gonna go into it right now.
I want to talk about, you said you're shaping boards?
No,
still doing that?
No, I'm not shaping boards.
Oh, he's just buying them, baby.
I'm buying them, dude. I got no time to shape, dude.
I think you and I have an addiction. It's called surfboards.
And
I have way too many.
My shaper has my dims down, bro. I'm like, yo, I need a fish for a big boy.
Right.
Dude, he'll knock it out in like 2 weeks. I'm good. Awesome. Yeah. So, yes, I am. So my 4 years is up in March. I am running for re-election as the mayor in March 2024.
Let's go, dude. All
right, man.
I am not, and I'm going against the incumbent, because our city is now going in districts.
Oh,
so
okay.
Part of the city is in districts right now. 1, 2, and 5's in districts, and there's 3 and 4. And myself and an incumbent are running for 3, and there's a new council person coming out of 4. So I got some work to do. I'm going against a guy that's been in the game for 12 years.
Oh wow. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, honestly, man, I just, when I hear that kind of stuff, I'm just like, yeah, so.
Yeah, it's more the reason for you to run. Absolutely, man.
And I don't want to like be too negative about politicians, because,
No, there's some good ones out there.
There are some good ones.
There's some 100% good people out there, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, there's people that have been able to make careers of being this person or this representative that maybe aren't, maybe doing what their constituents think they should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think like it's refreshing meeting someone like yourself.
Thank you.
Because it makes me feel like, I'm like, good. You know what? There's grinders, dude, that care and that, are doing it because they have the passion is there to do the work, not to just be the face.
Not to take a photo.
That, man.
Yeah, dude, right? Because like you're saying, you're running a homeless food outreach. How many politicians show up for the meet and greet and go, enjoy your meal, and then they're like couple minutes here, and I gotta go, I got a thing, well, we know what you.
But there's also the politicians that came in. I didn't even know they're politicians that were just there. Like, I'm like, oh wow, you're a elected leader. It's like, yeah, you've been coming to this thing for 5 years. I didn't know who he was. I thought you're just
no kidding,
my aunt's friend. Like, thanks for coming out.
Dude, that's awesome.
I mean, I guess proof's in the pudding, right, nowadays, right? Because I mean, there's so much noise and marketing, And just know that there's some good people out there. Like I've come across a lot of them. That's why I'm not jaded by this industry. Let's call it an industry. Let's call it a game. I'm not jaded because I can go to sleep at night. When I first got elected, I asked, I'll say his name out right now, Emeritus Speaker Anthony Rendon of the Assembly. He told me when I asked for his endorsement, he goes, just make the decision based on your values, your morals. In your heart you made the right decision, stick to it, and you're good, bro. You can go to sleep. I'm like, all right, cool.
So don't read the comments
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Never read the comments.
Yeah, I was like, don't ever read the comments because
all
there's
wound
just
up, man.
haters hate, and that's
There's
what it is.
keyboard assassins everywhere, right? And everyone, the keyboard assassins are probably in their basement in their underwear, just like, let's go, let's just rally. I'm like, bro, like, get over it.
I always envision them in their underwear too, which is hilarious that you said that. So I was like, just think some
It's-
frumpy person,
yeah.
just mad.
Yeah,
Well, you seem like a man of faith, which
I am Catholic.
yeah, that's all good. I have my own faith, dude.
Yeah.
Same. And has that also been a big driver in the things that you're doing, decisions you're making? Because let's be real, right? You are the face of Lakewood, right? You're the mayor.
Yep, I
That's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
That's going to change your life, which I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've had to lean on certain things to get you through certain tough moments or times being mayor or city council, because that's a lot to take on, including your family. You need to be a present husband,
Yep.
a father.
Yep.
You need to take care of yourself, all on top of being the mayor. Like, how's that all encompassed for you? Because you seem like you're with it, which is great. How do you handle all that?
Yeah, man, it's you just take it on, right? Faith is huge. I'm Catholic. We go to church Sundays and get my 45 minutes to kind of like slow it down a little bit. But I think too, on top of like, let's talk about church, right? It's one of those places where it's always going to be there, and you can always kind of go back and kind of like reflect, right? And then sometimes you can take yourself out of this world we're in and just reflect and listen to the stories and how it happened, how they did it. Okay, cool. But on top of that, my circles have been really, I'm blessed with really good circles.
Good people, huh?
I can be me still and not have to worry about like, oh, he's drinking a beer.
that's so important.
And he's like anti-Lakewood. No, I grew up in Lakewood, man. People like don't understand how diverse Lakewood has always been. I get it, like in the 50s and the 40s and when the housing came here and redlining, but I grew up culturally diverse, right? I had my mom, open door policy, everybody eating my mom's cultural food, every nationality, everybody.
Yeah.
Like eating the crazy stuff, like the pig's blood foods, like the oxtail. And then mom's like, oh, hey, they're coming over. They want the barbecue, or they want the, it's like, it's stuff like that growing up in Lakewood. People don't realize that, but going to like, back to like faith has always been there, right? Because you just kind of, it allows you to, I think for me, it allows me to slow it down. Like sometimes, okay, let me go through the prayers. It's kind of like, it's like before you're going to go shred, right? Yeah. You got to stretch.
Oh yeah, man.
So like, do you count? What do you do?
Oh, you know what? I do this every time. So I've been surfing since I was 8.
Yeah.
Same. Grew up here, Lakewood, boards, longboarding, mid-length, and I don't lay the board down. I kind of stand it up on its rail.
Okay.
And I squat down and I just kind of move side to side and I take a deep breath and I look, I stand up, stretch down. I do it the same way every time.
Okay.
Take a deep breath, gone.
See, I pray.
I love it, dude.
Because if I lay back, twist my back and sit there, if I do the Hail Mary, then that's count on that side. Then I do another Hail Mary on the other side.
Yeah.
Then you're giving time, right? You're not like on one, and you use it to like stretch.
Yeah.
Like I'm stretching my lower back, upper back, or my arms. Okay, let me, instead of counting, I usually pray.
That's cool.
It's kind of weird.
No, dude.
That's a good routine. You're knocking 2 birds out with one stone.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, right.
It's very time efficient.
We talk about surfing here all the time. For me, it's in our line of work, we need to defuse. So when I get off duty, it's either mountain biking, trail running, I go surf, I skydive for fun and paraglide and all this stuff. I do a lot of ridiculous stuff. But dog, we're involved. We do a lot.
Jack of all trades, masters of none.
That's right, dude.
Trust me, you're teaching me.
But the surfing, to me, it does sound weird to people who don't surf, but I always say it is a very spiritual thing. It's the ocean is healing in so many ways, man, because you get to go out, you get that cold water dip, right? Splash in the face, the first wave, but you have to focus so much on your timing and balance and working on, hanging 5 or whatever you're going to do on your board. Yeah. You're focused in. Yeah. And I'm always smiling. Yeah. As soon as I get on that wave. Yeah. And so I leave the ocean every time better than when I came. Yeah. So being in the water and being out there, it's a great experience. I try to tell people, like, you just got to surf. Go surf. Get your wave. It's amazing.
You're preaching. Like, I think too, on top of that, there's a process. Leaving here, and then you have that time to think. Yeah. Before you get there, and then when you have a process coming, when you're done, like, what, you go grab coffee, you get something to eat, you stop, like, you buy something, but like there's a process of like decompressing from having fun, right? And it just kind of like lower. Yeah, trust me, you're preaching the choir.
Oh, it's good. And you said your daughter serves, right?
Yeah, she does. She serves.
Such
So
a good
I also am an avid longboarder in the mid links now. Yeah, she serves, and but it's tough because we have sports, we have water polo, and she loves snowboarding, but I can't have her ruin her wrist, man. And then she's not gonna be able to throw the polo ball, right? So I'm like,
oh yeah.
You can wear wrist guards underneath, but it looks.
I was thinking about that.
It looks lame, man.
We used to ditch. I'd have her ditch school in elementary.
I love
Dude,
it.
we just got dumped on. Let's go. Don't worry, mom's not gonna get mad.
You're such a red.
We'll be back by 3 o'clock, dude. We'll get like 10 runs in, 15 runs in locally, and come back. We're good.
That's
Yeah.
so
That's awesome.
We did that a couple times. She's not happy.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Guys, so being in politics, kind of like you are, reality is you're liked, and then you have people who don't like you.
Absolutely.
So you're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
You want to, let's be real, right? There's people who are faith, and there's people who aren't, which that's fine.
Yeah.
You believe what you want, but we're going to always make the best decision right for the people.
Yep.
I mean, how has that been, trying to make decisions knowing like, okay, someone's not going to be happy with this decision, but it is what it is?
So going back to values and morals, right? Like obviously it's values and morals of yourself, and then the decisions I make is based on my community.
Yeah.
Like I think of like you guys like grew up in my community. Like my parents are still alive and they're in the community.
Yeah.
Right. My little one's in the community. How does she get to be a kid still and enjoy being a cool little human and still be a kid? And my parents, their age, I built this community. How do I have the right programming for that? Right. So when you look back at it, it's more of like making decisions based on that.
Okay.
Of like the people, like, okay, don't want to raise taxes. We don't need a tax measure because you're just taking more money away. But you know what? Then I look back, we haven't raised taxes in 20 years.
Right.
You look at CPI and inflation, like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And it costs more to do construction, wood costs more, and everything's stuck on the boat. It's like, okay, how do I navigate verbally to this? I mean, there's so much going on right now.
Yeah, dude.
Your guys' industry. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that you bring up such a good point, right? Because we're middle class. We all are. Our career field is still middle class. We live in middle class communities, right? And you bring up a great point when it comes to inflation right now.
Yeah.
Right. And we hear it a lot too. Oh, they're raising taxes again. They're just taking our money. You're hitting the middle class hard. But it's like, have you really read into everything? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, do a little more homework. Don't just read the headline, because you're trying to make a decision that's best for the community. Sometimes it's going to be a hard one, and you got to do what's best. And people are, oh, you're taking more money from us. You're like, well, here's why. It's not what you think. But
yeah, no, going back to that, yes, it's one of those things where I just make like, it's navigating conversations, going back to that. Because if they understand why, then sometimes the information they get is really minimal.
Yeah.
And then you share like the breadth of the information. Then it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember when I got elected the first time, this guy was like just anti me. Like he didn't even know who I was. Right. I go, let's have coffee. And I told my wife, she's like, bro, like, you want to have coffee with this dude? You don't know who he is. I'm like, I don't know. He was busting my chops. He was hitting me hard. I'm like, okay, let's have coffee. So I meet this guy at coffee, right? And I go, he's like, the first thing he said, I don't like Anthony Rendon. Well, let's bleep his name out. I don't like the assembly speaker that you guys are talking to, or you guys talk to in the city that represents us. I was like, okay, why don't you tell me why? And then I'll call him and I'll tell him. He's like, what? That's my job, for you to tell me why you don't like everything he's doing. And I'm going to tell him. Then he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, then he was kind of taken aback. Right. And I go, okay, that's my job. You're my boss. Yeah. Like people say you made it to the top. I said, I made it to the bottom. Take that pyramid and flip it upside down, because I got 80,000 people that are telling me what to do now. Right. They're my bosses. You live in Lakewood, you're my boss. Your brother, your family are my bosses. Yeah. They need to tell me what's going on so I can fix it. Yeah. So we sit and we get to that first question. The second question was like, well, you're going to raise taxes. You're going to pass a measure in Lakewood. I'm like, okay. The last time we raised taxes was 20 years ago. How long you lived here? I lived here 25 years. Like, bro, I've been here 50 years, bro. Yeah. And he looks at me, he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, 50 years, dude. I can tell you anything about the city, how it's turned, how it's changed. He's like, yeah. I go, you're a business owner. I'm a business owner. Do you like working past 5 o'clock and missing time with your family? He's like, no. Well, everything's gone up in price. Cost of goods sold have gone up. CPI has gone up. Inflation's gone up.
Yep.
Something has to budge.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Give me 5 signs.
Oh, did you really?
Hell yeah. I was like,
I love it, dude.
I got home.
You know what? But that's how it's done, right? Yeah. We've said this. I've said so many times on here. It's almost like sometimes it just takes that simple conversation. Yeah. Is it going to be a little intimidating at first?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what happened to the days where, why can't I come to you and talk to you? And if we agree to agree, cool. If we agree to disagree, cool. Yeah. Maybe I'll learn something from what you're educating me on. Maybe you'll learn something from me that you'll get educated on. You can take that back to somebody else, but it's almost like so much has changed to the point where it's like, if you don't believe what I believe, it's just boom, boom. You're a piece of this, you're that. You're kind of, it's like, whoa. That's this is about talking, right? Yeah. Have a conversation. Yeah. I love that you did that. That's huge.
I think that's like the breakdown of kind of where society though is a little bit. And I don't mean that like I'm not singling any group or anything out, but I'm just saying like that, like what you're saying, the ability for like, let's say if you're going to do a town hall meeting, right? And someone's going to stand up. And if you ever turn on your local channel and watch, there's always characters. I think is a safe way to say that.
I think it's fun.
That show up, that can or can't be. But like, instead of being the one on this, like watching the screen, if you disagree with something, or even if you have a question about something, I mean, at the end of the day, like that, you got to get past the awkwardness. You got to get past that uncomfortable feeling. And, if you have a problem, speak up, say something. And, and on the other end of it, like, dude, you're trying to 80,000 you represent. Okay. So there's going to be a couple people that are always going to be pissed because in your family, I'm sure there's one person that shows up to a holiday, at least one. Yeah. I was like, just one, maybe. I mean, depending, that's that pissed off at everything person, they happen to exist, and I think that's really cool of having that. I hate to use the transparency word because I don't like these buzzwords sometimes, but having that is very important, and being approachable. Let's use that instead. I like that. But having the ability to be approachable constantly, I mean, will pay dividends for you, I'm sure, long term. But that's what hopefully people that are representing the groups in these cities are, and all the way up, right? That you hope for that. Now, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to call up, our governor and say, hey, I don't like this. What the hell's going on? Or maybe you can, but I think it starts at the local level, and being able to do that, I think is cool. And that's a good story, man. Like, because I'm sure that guy was probably coming in that conversation like, oh,
he was coming in hot.
I'm gonna get him. Yeah, I know exactly what to say. You're gonna raise taxes. You're like, no shit, dude. No one likes paying more money. Okay, that's a dumb statement. Of course, I don't want to do it either. But we got to pay for shit.
It affects me too. I gotta pay the taxes.
Right, totally. Right.
But yeah, going back to our conversation with the governor. Like I was in Sacramento a couple weeks ago, and there's these issues we have with broadband and the digital divide and digital inequity, right? And what I've learned in this game of politics, it's the art of compromise, and it's having the conversation. It's kind of like endorsing the higher elected leaders. They're calling me to endorse them, and I told them straight out, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna endorse you. I don't agree with half the shit you say. Right, makes me mad, but you give me a lot of money for my city so I can do this, this, and this. And I like that. I can text you and you respond. It's about the conversation because they got a tough game too. And like we're in a governor's office, and we didn't go in there pumping our fists, man. We just came in there. We had a strong conversation. We held united on one of the other organizations that I lead. I'm also in Southeast LA. We came together and we kind of like told them like, hey, you can't take this money away from us. We left a mark and it was good. But again, it was more of the conversation piece, right? Because it is the art of compromise. And sometimes there's so much information out there, right? Because I never understood like how these elected leaders knew so much. But what I'm learning now is the more you get involved, the more you get to learn. And then the ones that don't know or assume or like say, I have an answer for homelessness. That's...
I would immediately stop listening.
I mean, especially in your guys' sector of business, man.
We see it all the time, man.
I'm like,
we see it all the time.
No, stop. You cannot solve that.
Yeah.
No one can right now.
And I think that's like, like going forward just with, and hopefully there's I think a larger change of that political representation approach, at least I'm hoping, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, there's people that, they're interested in politics. Then there's people that get pissed off at politics. And then there's people that never question politics, which I find fascinating. But there's all these different types of folks with how that goes. And it's like, at the end of the day, I think having someone that you can, like, not just accepting the position that they're in and being like, oh, I trust this random person to make all the best interests for me, but having someone that really represents that, you know. And again, like, we don't have to get all super political, because there's always going to be, you know, differences and ideologies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I feel like even if someone was, you know, represented my area that I didn't agree with, how they present themselves, how they carry themselves, how they're, you know, not just like, I mean, when I'm saying that, I don't, you know, like the old school politician, like suit and tie and we're going to end this and blah, 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 you know, because, like, dude, it's hard to say that and then ask for, like you're saying, ask for a measure raise, right? And then as the citizen of the area, I'm looking around going, damn, dude, my taxes went up and I don't see new roads. I don't see this. I don't see that. So that creates that, you know, kind of I don't know, tumultuous?
Tumultuous?
Does I say that?
Yeah. Tumultuous?
I'm like, Sam too, is that appropriate vernacular? Okay. Tumultuous. Anyway, makes me sound like I have a speech impediment. But either way, what I'm getting at is that it's good to have that as the platform of how you represent yourself.
Yep.
And in that process, in the politician game, I think that's what I hope to see on a larger base. And there are good people that have the ability to do that.
Yep.
But it's being able to, like, do it and have you believe it. Yep. You know what I mean? Versus, like, it's just like a car salesman, or, like, you know, the kind of, anyway.
It goes back to proofs in the pudding, right? And I'll share, because you mentioned a story about being like the politician. So when I got elected, someone said, do not change who you are, like your personality or nothing.
Accurate. Yes.
And it was like, there's times for me to be suited and booted. Like, and I'm all about suits now because I got a tailor and I love suits.
Dude,
now.
I think your photo, your mayor photo is in a bow tie, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it, dude.
Thank you.
It looks great.
Thank you. But, like, I do a lot of talks to, like, a lot of local high schools. And I remember I was at, I think it was Mayfair High School. I did a talk there like 3 weeks ago, and I did like 8 periods, right? And then the moderator were like, okay, we're gonna have the mayor come in, and they're just expecting some dude in like a suit to just kind of like just send all this information out to them, right? And I was in my joggers and my Nikes, you know, a t-shirt and a hat, and they're just like, and I sat from the crowd, they're like, whoa, you know. Even I was at Lakewood High School last week, right, to their leadership class, and I was there. And again, I showed up in a Hawaiian shirt, and because I wanted to show like these kids, because I need to figure out who. I mean, I've only been in this game for like less than 4 years. Mm-hmm. I need to figure out who the next round of leaders are, so I can
very good.
So I can kind of like be like mom and dad and chill and know that there's some kid thinking out there that he wants to do like a skate park. He wants to, and I don't like the word change. I like the word evolve, right? Like that we evolve. Like my job is not to change my council. My job's to make sure I bring my lens to the table, right? Whether it's looking at something different. And my ideas get shot down all the time, but they heard it and they're not anti my ideas. It just doesn't make any sense financially, or how do we do this? Where's the space? I said, okay, that's cool. That's fair, right? And that's the job, right? And now I'm looking for, like, I try to get these younger kids, like, you don't got to be in a suit all day. If you want to rock a blazer and a suit all day, cool for you, but I'm not. I'm going to run around in my Vans. I tell these kids, you're lucky I'm wearing socks today, because no one don't wear socks in my Vans, right? Because, and they're like, what? I'm like, dude, yeah. I'm like, and what I did too is, instead of like telling them information, I change it to the method of inquiry. Mm-hmm. I let them, I just start off like, I walk in, yo, what up? I'm the mayor of Lakewood, Ariel, the first Filipino American.
Let's go. And
then they're like, okay. And then I say, ask me a question. And it always happens right out of the gates. It's random. Like, what kind of car you like? 67 Lincoln Continental, airbag on Supremes. And then they're like, what's your favorite color? Cobalt blue, candy with a little pearl. They're like, and then they ask me, like, you know, like, how much money you make? I'm a local elected leader. I don't make much, you know, but they ask me, and then they get deeper, right? They say, okay, so what was the thing that turned you to get into politics? And I tell them that story. And then so I change it to method of inquiry versus telling them the story, because and then they're going to fall asleep. They're going to be on their phones, and that's whack. Kids on their phones.
You're getting engagement.
Yeah, I get really full engagement.
Yeah, right? That's super important, because that's what I was going to ask you is, like, you know, from your point of view, we see this all the time. We hear people okay, we're part of a union, right? So voting, all that stuff, right? You're going to hear people squawk.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well then what are you going to do about it? Oh, well, I ain't got the time, this and that.
Best counter.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I ain't got the time. I can't do that. But how do we get younger people involved with volunteering and government and running for office? Because that is a big gripe. I would say, at least I hear from people I know just around and also in work is, politicians just old people up there all the time. And that's nothing wrong with older people being up there, but you hear that all the time, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, so how do we get the younger generations to get involved, to see what you have done and other officials and be like, hey, we can do this at a younger age. We can make a difference. We can be involved with the community and go farther than we thought. How do we, my question is, how do we do that?
I just expose them. So going straight, I'm going to do a heavy plug right now. Is that cool?
Oh, go for it.
All right.
Plug it.
So I had this conversation with my ASM, my assistant city manager, probably about right after less than 7 months in when I was on council. I go, hey, so I was a product of not going through the commission system. Mm-hmm. I went from chronic volunteer, board chair, president of 5 or 6 different organizations, skipped that part, ran an election, got on council, right? The normal path would be high school, student government, civics, ASB, make your way around, get on a commission, serve on a commission, then get in, right? To council would be the normal. But in Lakewood, our commissioners are so old that they didn't want to get to the next level, which is okay, right? So I go, we got to figure something out. So I go, how do we get these kids to be exposed to something? But we do this. I don't want just your youth in government, man. It's just like beating on a leather piece of hide for hours, and then it's not cool or fun. But how do we blend this together, right? So I told them, okay, I'll go find the money, and then we'll figure it out, and then we'll figure out the curriculum. But what I do want, I told my Paula Beltran, my assistant city manager, I go, hey, I want them to be exposed to profit, nonprofit, public sector, private sector, and then everything that falls in between that, and let's figure it out. Because all these other academies or in other local cities, they do more of the public policy side of things, which is cool. Right. But I want to blend, because the reason why is I want to expose them, but also let them share and learn other things too. Because if it's always public policy and municipal level, it's okay. But there has to be nonverbal communication. There has to be DEI, especially with, race, equity, and inclusion. And there has to be something cool. So what we did was, I went to Supervisor Hahn, man. I go, hey, I need 10 grand to launch a program.
Straight up,
dude. Straight up. This is the Lakewood Leadership. We didn't even have the curriculum built, but we had the shell, right?
Yeah.
And then we had to fill it in backwards. So, and now, let's fast forward 3 years. It took us 1.5 years to write the curriculum, my staff, and then we launched this thing called the Lakewood Leadership Academy. And it wasn't for high school kids. It was for older, like your age demographic, 20 to 50. And it was more of the way I looked at it was more like a certification, right? Because you guys are applying for a job. You guys are neck and neck. Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy went through the Lakewood Leadership Academy, which has diversity and equity training and nonverbal communication. Oh, they went through team building, right? Conversations. And it just gives you a step ahead. But the speakers were key. We did history of Lakewood. I had the family, a good friend, Steve Van Doren, the family that started the Vans company, shoe company.
Yeah.
He came down and he spoke to the crew and he gave them books and he talked about how to build teams and what their families did in the brand, right? And everything that encompassed that and inspired this whole room. And I have a room full of, there was, I think 42 that originally signed up, and I think 37 just graduated the first cohort of a 9-month program. Nice. And there was a buy-in, because if it's free, then some people won't show up, right?
Yeah.
We made them pay to show up, and everybody showed up. I think a couple of people, a couple of girls got pregnant. They were on their pregnancy.
Yeah.
But we had a diverse amount of age demographic, from YMCA to some guys that work for the state, some guys work for the city. They just wanted to learn more. But we had my buddies, Brandon Ball from Starch Creative. We used to work at Vans together, but now he does all the merchandising for all the big brands like Red Bull and Vans and Adidas, right? And then we had like nonverbal communication, just an array of things. And this cohort just bounded together. They're all different, but now they started like volunteering together. Some of them started another like leadership academy, women's and leadership academy. They started strictly for women's, and they're all still connected. And that's like, I think I don't want to say the word groom, but more of like stirring the pot.
Stirring the pot. You're teaching it, but you're also, it's like that succession planning. We hear that all the time. Who's going to be next in line that we can show how to do this, but in a great way, like you're doing. I mean, that's huge, man. Yeah. You brought together these people. Yeah, they paid, but they came. Now they're starting their own group. I mean, that's huge. Yeah. Now you're creating community.
Yes.
Now you know that we need community, right? Yeah. That's what we're made that way. We gotta be around people. Yeah. And now you're showing them, hey, here's how we do it. Here's how to be involved. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's honestly how I became a firefighter. I never thought I could do it. I was a terrible student. I was not good at school. Yeah, I was just horrible, but ended up doing the Explorer program. Yeah. That's the thing that it shows you as a kid, okay, we're going to get you involved. This is paramilitary. You need to cut your hair. We need to see your grade report. So I started getting my grades up, working harder, teach you how to work as a teammate. Yep. They taught us how to talk confidently with people, because in our line of work, we're called to anyone's house. Yep. It doesn't matter if you worship Satan, God, atheist, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, Indian, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We serve you with respect. You could be the richest person or you could be the poorest person, but we're going to help you. And it taught me so much confidence, working as a team. So what you're doing is huge, because that's always my question. What are we doing to get good leaders in? Young. Start them young. Get them in here to start working and hopefully come on city council one day, be mayor, and then who knows, go higher.
And that's why I purposely like the joke between our executive assistant is like, is it Lakewood casual or is it Ari casual? Serious, because it depends on my audience, right? Because, if there's an older demographic, I'll adjust, but I want the kids to see like, I can do that too. I had someone approach me at a golf tournament. We're playing a golf tournament. He's like, bro, one of us is up there, man. He's like this. I'm like, he just straight out, dude. He's like that, like straight out, like one of us is up there. Like, it's like, this is attainable. Yeah. Or when I did that talk at Lakewood High School, like these kids were just engaged, and then no one walked up and shook my hand. What they did, they go, yo, and they gave me the, like they didn't have to come acknowledge me. I knew I got to them when they just gave me the piece, like, or they weren't like this to me. I'm like, that was more than just, hey, hi, hello, can I have your business card? Yeah. He just gave me the chest pump and the fist. I was like, yo, like that was cool, man. So it's stuff like that, right? Like I show up because like my little one, like, hey, she's been born into this giving life, right? And and she's gonna be fine. But like, what about everybody else? Because I have this networking structure that's so expansive. That's why I share it. Because what am I use it myself? Yeah. You might as well share and everybody have fun, right? Yeah. Rising tides raises all ships, man.
Oh, my man.
Well, I win, we all win, man. It's like, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool to hear. Like, I mean, just the attainability of the success in this line of service, right? I think that it's, like, I don't know, like what you're saying earlier, when someone asks you about that, you're like, whether you never thought about doing it or how do I even get to that point or start the process in it. Oh. And I think having that representation is very important, because I don't know, like if you would have, I mean, obviously now maybe I've learned things as I've gotten a little bit older. But going back to when I was in my early 20s, like if you said, hey, you want to get in politics? You'd be like, dude, I didn't go to college. I am not, from a affluent family, all this kind of stuff of what I thought had to be a thing to get involved in that way. So, by starting up the program and whether it's or an academy or just the certification or even how you want to label it, but that's super rad to hear. And hopefully listening, if you're younger and you're involved and you're passionate, dude, get involved.
Lakewood Leadership Academy, I mean, it's for everybody, just to kind of get a check, but it's like we want it to be fun too, right? And have engaging speakers, because when I worked in the industry, man, we had some rad speakers, and there's nothing better than walking away from like a keynote and you're like, whoa, right? I remember, I'll tell you right now what happened, why I got in the action sports sector was I was at Long Beach State. It was my business law class, and had this presenter come in, right? White dude comes in, slick back hair, looked like a veterano, white t-shirt, blue jeans, had his cons on, and he was talking about business law class. I'm like, what's he gonna talk about business law? He was the dude that launched Roxy, presented the brand, the concept of Roxy through Billabong, and then went from there. Wow. And he showed us their first their lookbook, right? Dude, their first lookbook was shot at like La Fonda. K30. I'm like, no, that's La Fonda right there.
That's rad.
I was like, dude, I know La Fonda. Yeah. I go, is that La Fonda? I was like, yep, you know La Fonda over there by K30? Yes, sir.
That's rad.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm getting in this game. Yeah, so I think that's what got me into the action sports sector was that. But dude, he just rolled in. He wasn't suited and booted. He came in like the industry. You guys know the industry, right? Like, and I tell people all this all the time. Like, I'm hoping my city it's starting to not loosen up, but like even being a municipal, people spend like 8 hours a day there, man. Like let's have fun. Like, you know, I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Like, you can bring your dog in and let's pull the rugs out, have cement, right? And like have this energy level there that they just want to go to work. Because I remember being at Vans and like, oh, you haven't been on vacation in 2 years. You need to go on vacation.
Right.
You need to like decompress. Or, hey, you've been on the road for like the last week and a half. Go home for a couple of days. We'll figure it out. Come back and let's go. You know, like giving you that balance, you know?
So I was going to say the balance. That's the key.
Huge.
It's finding it both. Obviously, working hard and being involved with what you're doing is very important. But so is, you know, even the reference I'm talking about surfing, where you reset and growing the community within the process of what you're trying to do, or team building, right? Yeah. You got to do that. I mean, who was it talking about? Someone on here was talking about the company's stance, like the socks.
Yeah.
And they said it kind of reminded me of like what I envisioned working for Google might be like, and purely based on that movie with Owen Wilson, because it just seemed fun. But talking about like the break rooms had a mini pipe in it, you know, and they had like little putt golf or whatever, just to be able to unwind or maybe even create that kind of fun atmosphere while you're trying to work hard, you know. And dude, I mean, actually, I'm just gonna drop that. My next question: are you doing a wave pool?
Hey, we don't have any room in Lakewood for that. What I'm really pushing. I'll say it straight up, man. I'm pushing for a pump track.
Oh, sick. Okay.
All wheel encompassing pump track, right? Because now it's not so skate centric, even though. And then maybe the pump track will have a skate section, but all wheel encompassing. Your scooters, your bikes, whatever can roll it, you know, like the one up in San Marcos. Yeah. Exactly like that. I want a pump track. And then let's kind of go, because everybody has skate parks. You go to a skate park. No one has a pump track. I want a pump track.
Please make one.
We're working on it. Okay. I'm working on it. But there's a couple of capital improvement projects that has to go first. Yeah, I know. Sure. And we're going over like a general 20-year master plan for the city of Lakewood for their park systems. Oh, okay. And you better believe my input's like I want to make sure we like everything from, you know, like the how do we call it? It's not the word. I don't know if I can say. It's like the inclusive or exclusive. Like they don't say the word disabled anymore.
No,
inclusive. It's inclusive.
Inclusive.
So like at the parks and like pump track, like for everybody in Lakewood, because you know Lakewood, we're not about club sports in Lakewood. We all play club sports because we got introduced. Lakewood was built to be affordable for families to play all sports. Yes. That's why it's subsidized. Like you can play flag football, you can do hula, you can do gymnastics, and it's not going to break the bank.
That's what I grew up doing, flag football, dude.
And I loved it. And it's not going to break the bank. That was what Lakewood's about. But like I get heat all the time from all the Pop Warner presidents like, well, we need more football fields. I'm like, well,
where are you going to build it, bro?
We're here to expose flag football in hopes to play Pop Warner, right? Right. We're not here to run Pop Warner programs because it's a little next level, right? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where,
So what about, speaking of like land? Okay, so right next to City Hall, it's across the street from. I want to say it's Smart and Final, and there's like Home Depot. You know that big dirt lot in the corner?
Yeah, Clark and Delamo.
Yeah, is anything gonna happen? Yeah. That's been that way since I was a kid, since I can remember.
Something's gonna happen there.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go on the record, off the record. So what's happening right now, like the state's pounding the shit out of us on putting housing, right?
Okay.
No, housing's not going to go there.
Okay.
They're pounding the shit on housing. So we have to look at the parcels in Lakewood and see how we can accommodate these numbers. And every city's getting pounded on, and they're getting these ridiculous numbers. So we're trying to find a way where we can kind of meet in the middle. So the Lakewood Mall and like other malls like Cerritos, Downey, or Stonewood and Cerritos, they're going to change. there's going to be blended use, right? It's going to be housing on top and then mall on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
But we'll restructure it, right? Like, let's get a cool little downtown. Like, I want to cross between what they do in Europe, Asia, LBX, what they do at the Links over there at El Segundo. I want to mix between all that. Like, so we have things for like to go to the brewery and the parents hang out there by a fire. The kids go, but I want outdoors. I don't want just buildings and retail. So that's going to change. So we strategically are trying to figure out what we can do in that property to complement what's going to go on there. Why are we going to put on restaurants here if there's going to be restaurants there? Why are we going to put, so we're trying to find ways to complement what's going to go down in the future versus making a quick,
That's like a 5-year plan, huh? Or more?
I'd probably take 10-year plan.
10-year plan?
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be cool because if I'm here, I'm still here. I have my input. It's not going to be just buildings and walls. It's going to be cool shit, man.
I'll tell you what.
I don't want no cool shit.
There's one thing I like at the Lakewood Mall, and that's the bowling alley.
Yeah.
That place is packed all the time.
Yeah.
You have to reserve.
So Cinder 1.
Yeah, Cinder. That's what yeah.
So there's a rock climbing facility coming to Lakewood, right?
Get out of here. Really?
It's where the Office Depot is.
Okay.
Where Office Max. So across the street, they're part of the same umbrella. It's like, dude, they're just gotten to the second level. They're building a rock climbing there now.
Oh, that's so rad.
Kevin Hart's putting a restaurant in Lakewood.
Oh, no what? Way.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Oh, Kevin Hart, huh?
He's putting a restaurant in Lakewood. There's some good movement
cool.
in on the retail sector, but just know like Lakewood is pretty much built out. It's 94% residential, community based, and 6% commercial. So our commercial tax dollars comes from that whole area. Plus a lot of the sales tax increase that we did in 2020, we capture all online sales too.
Oh, wow.
Which really helped a lot, you guys. You guys don't even know, like...
Well, because everything's almost online now anyways.
Well, yeah, but before the business model was, okay, we're going to capture it by zip codes, and it goes to up here, then they disperse it. And so what we did was we passed a measure, it passed, and we captured it. If it's bought in Lakewood, it stays, the sales tax stays in Lakewood.
That's smart.
Versus buying it somewhere, then having to pick it up in Lakewood. So we captured all of that. So we did that right out of the gate. So it's been very healthy for us. Our healthy is very... financially stable.
I say, man, that sounds like there's a good future ahead.
Yeah,
pretty rad.
Lakewood's good. Our leadership, and I've learned from the ones before me and the ones now, right? Like there's 2 guys on there that are just super smart that have been in the game a long time, and I just haven't soaked in all their thinking, their information, because at one point in time they hand it down, and then I got to hand it down, right? So it's very challenging.
Is there a downtown Lakewood area, like as far as like if you were to say, hey, Saturday night, let's go out here?
I mean, there's the mall, there's restaurants and stuff. Like there used to be Fuddruckers. It used to be. I don't want to.
It's not a bad question. I'll tell you why. Because Lakewood was rated the most boring. I think years ago, the most boring city in Southeast LA County. But you know why? The metric was based on bars and clubs.
Okay.
Unless you're going to go to our dive bars, unless you're playing in the dart, what do you call it? The travel circle.
Right.
No. It's not happening. But, this is exactly what happened at KTLA when they called me, and I was like, okay, yes, we're not, that's our metrics, right? Okay, I get it. We're the most boring city, but come to our parks. We got 11 parks. You know what? Take 20 minutes or an hour, buy your lunch, and go sit at a park and tell me how you feel after you sit at one of our parks.
No.
Drive down our roads. Our roads are beautiful. We have retail.
Yeah. Where I was going with that wasn't a slam to the area. What I mean by where I was going with that is that having the envision of maybe re-outfitting the mall where you start, and I don't think you would call it a taxpayer, but like you have residential over commercial or retail, and you start to bring that in. There's a lot of examples of cities that do that by doing that increases the appeal, right? You're going to get more people coming into those areas, whether they're restaurants or a place to hang or I don't know. It's like for some reason a dueling piano bar came into my head, which is which I happen to like. Yeah, but you know what I mean. But I just mean like having that style of attraction with that. I think it's part of the evolution process of the area because self-sustaining with a 96% residential of people that may have been there for more than 30 years, right? How are you going to grow as a city financially? Whatever, it's a topic, right? You know, and being able to rein in the money to put towards stuff for the city, for the next generations, for the kids growing up here to sustain those parks or have cooler things at those parks. I think that's a neat idea. Like, and hopefully that takes, and I don't know, did you say that was going to happen?
Yeah. So it's going to happen everywhere. So it's blended use. You guys see it. You're going to see retail and then housing on top. Like my mom and dad have this big house in Lakewood, and it's like, they live by the mall. They're like, okay, we don't need this big house. I need you to build something up there. I want to go to church still. I want to see the senior center.
Yeah.
I want to see my friends. I still want to be in Lakewood. So it's one of those things where we're going to reconfigure. We're in conversations right now with the owners, but Lakewood Mall was the very first mall on the West Coast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
By the Maesters Group, yes. It was an outdoor mall. We turned it indoor, and then we've had really great conversations with them this year on conversations on what they're going to want something, we're going to want something different, and it's coming to terms of what it's going to be. And like, you know, because there's things that need to be figured out, like logistics, like Delamo and Clark, like we can't parking, the gas station, you know, gas station needs to be like things like that need to be all reconfigured. It has to be done, but it has, to me, it's like I want the cool factor too.
Yeah.
So we will have a downtown. I guarantee you we will. As long as I'm alive, there's going to be downtown.
Don't worry, I'll be there because I love going bowling over there.
Yeah.
It's so much fun, dude. Honestly, it's got killer pizza.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Bowling, dude.
Oh, I know.
I'm a huge bowler.
I know you are, dude.
Which is like super nerdy to say it out loud, and now it's on tape. But I feel like
Isn't what's his name on the Dodgers a bowler too?
Mookie.
Nookie, yeah.
He's like really good.
Yeah.
Like, has like a handful of like perfect games.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's well, they didn't do so
well.
well.
We're gonna wrap this up, but dude, one last thing I want to ask you here: what is going to be your future in politics? Where do you want to go? Do you want to go higher?
I am at the local level right now, and as like, my steps have been not. I've walked through every open door.
Got you.
So if there's a calling and it makes sense, I'm in. I'm not saying no to that because I truly believe like I mean, there's a lot going on in general in like local politics, even in the upper echelon, but am I the person that will be fit there, right? So, but if the door opens, I'm going to walk through it. Why not?
You got my vote. No.
Like, why not? Like, you know, like that's when I chose to go down this elected official, being an elected leader.
Yeah.
Like I told my wife, the door's cracked open. The question is, are we going to walk through it? I don't want to be the dude that's like, oh man, we shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude. Let's go. It's like,
I love it.
It's like you're gonna go or you're not gonna go, and you're gonna get pounded on if you don't go now. Right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I say
You
that
know
all the
that-
time.
exactly.
Yeah. Hesitation kills you. Dude.
Yeah, dude,
I
you hold
snap
out.
many boards that way during the winter.
I mean, you can only hold on your tail for so long before you gotta go, man. Like, let's go.
Is that a longboard reference? I would have no idea.
No, I remember teaching
Shortboard exclusive.
No, there was somebody. I was like, look, you can't hesitate. Like, you need to, especially like I always say during the winter, because I have my winter boards, right? It always gets a lot more hollow here. And I tell people like, when you go out in the winter, like, dude, you can't hesitate. You got to own it. You got to go and you got to power down.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. Hesitation will get you. It put me in the hospital, dude. Yeah, it swelled up my spinal cord, my neck. I couldn't feel my hands and stuff. Wiped out was like a 12, 14-foot day.
Oh, no, I don't even.
Dude, I got like, I think I had 2 waves.
No more. I don't even do that no more, man.
That sounds cool though.
No, I know
It was wild. It was wild.
My barometer has actually shrunk. I know fun and not fun.
Right.
But I know where I can still take out my tri-fins or my quads still.
Yeah.
But I've been in the mid lengths lately. But funny story, right? I'll share this publicly. I don't care. So Hillary's coming, right?
Yeah.
Hillary came and the swell came and it was macking. It was just building up until Sunday, right?
Right.
So I went out a week out prior and I was like, okay, cool, this is good. I can handle it. Then probably like 4 days out, it was still mellow. And then I just got busy. And then I went to 3 events on Sunday. That Sunday that Hillary was coming into to the wedge.
Yeah.
And I get home, I tell my little one, dude, go on the cameras right now, dude. The wedge is starting to mac. It's like, no way. Let's go. I was like, it's raining. My wife's on the couch. She's like, no, you're the mayor. There's flooding going on. No, you got to stay home.
But
We can't go anywhere, right?
Right.
And then I look at my little one. I'm like, Go get your raincoat. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Hunt, we're going. You're more than welcome to go with us. Put our rain gear on, like put all our stuff on, like.
Yep.
And we went, and it was just macking, dude. Right when the black ball ended, dude, the shortboarders were frothing to get in the water. Right when the black ball lifted, dude, they get in the water. And we were there when that kid did that somersault.
Yeah.
That one clip that everybody posted, we were there.
That's rad.
Dude, it just lined up, and they got to 20, then 25. I'm like, dude, it's Mac. My little one's never seen waves that big.
That's huge.
Like in her face, it's like, Dad, like, oh, dude. It was like, and my wife's just like,
I can see that. The biggest I've wiped out on was 16 feet, and I got held under for 2 waves. It was radical.
You'll find me on the shore just cheering everyone on.
I don't mess with that anymore.
It's like a little overhead. I'm like, it goes from being a fun day to like, I'm generally concerned about my well-being. Like,
Yeah.
just like there's a lot of water moving around, man.
It's
like,
a lot.
It's powerful, you know.
But once you know your barometer, you're good. Because we just came back from Costa Rica.
Oh, sick.
We saw Playa Grande over there by.
Okay.
We didn't stay at the Ripjack Inn this time. We stayed there 4 years ago, and we stayed at the El Mangar.
We're going to have to all go surf, man.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Down there, like my dad, he's 82. He still surfs down there at Bolsa, the old guys.
Yeah, what station?
He's at 16.5.
Oh, he's the cool crew.
Yeah, he's
The
old
hipsters,
dude,
the hipsters. I'm at 21.
Yeah,
21. Now we're at 20. I do 21 and 25.
That's why. Yeah, I usually hit 21. I check
25.
north. Yeah, just because I like kind of surfing to myself and have fun. I don't need to be the crowd, but yeah, we'll have to go. And so people know, can people get involved with the Thanksgiving, the feeding that you do? What's it called?
We don't do that anymore. I had
Okay,
to stop that right at the pandemic, and I was going to shift it towards like a lot of the seniors in the area because I realized, but I think at that point in time, the lens, I didn't understand how the lens of being an elected leader was. And I want people to say, hey, dude, you're just doing that just because you want to get elected. But if you know, I was doing it 30 years prior. So we stopped in the pandemic. We stopped. But definitely, there's so much to get involved in the city of Lakewood. I would definitely highly recommend. There's 25 nonprofit organizations you can get involved with. Rotary, Seroptimus, like Meals on Wheels. There's so many, like there's like for the library, there's like millions of them, and there's things to do. And I think we still have that community base here.
Oh, absolutely. What's your do you have Instagram? People
I have Instagram. Yeah.
They want to ask you questions about Lakewood?
Yeah, they want to ask you questions about Lakewood. Let me
DM him.
just know if it's about city business, it's going to go to staff. So it's Ari Pay Lakewood City Council.
Okay. At Ari Pay Ladies City Council.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome, dude. People get you on there. Ari, thanks so much for coming to podcast,
no worries,
dude.
Man. This is awesome.
I want to keep going, but I'm like, we're at our time. But
no worries. Yeah.
We want to have you back on here.
Absolutely.
And also, if there's anything that comes up that you need help, election stuff, whatever it may be, or outreach.
Yeah, campaign.
Hit us up, dude. We want to help out. We'd love to be involved. You're a great dude. Yeah. You're one of us.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Dude, I just appreciate who you are, man, and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Giving back to the community as long as you have, but also how you're getting involved with the younger generations to bring them up. That's huge. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's it's worth its weight in gold, man. Yeah. You're making a difference.
Yeah, I'm glad we crossed paths.
I know,
so
it's crazy.
This. It was super cool, and honestly, really, to be honest with you, before this started, I was kind of like, I don't know. I've not because cool, not cool. It's like if we're gonna be like super polished talker, like politically kind of thing, you never know. And
true, yeah.
I think it's a true, like, refreshing situation. Hopefully people that either follow you or you gain some people out of this to be like, hey, he's a real dude, Thank
you. Appreciate that.
For, good, bad, and indifferent, And I think there's a lot of respect that carries with that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
and,
it's fun.
I'm really glad we got to do this. And I would love to go surfing. I've been telling this guy we're going to go surfing for it's been like a year maybe. Apparently when you have, other things...
A big family?
My time, yeah. The third one's on the way, man.
Oh yeah.
So
it's to get real for him. Getting really real.
So I just figure I'm good, right? Things will be all right. No, I'm just kidding. We're super blessed, and I'm excited and a little nervous, but more excited. So
good, man.
And this isn't about me, but thank you so much, dude, for
thank you
coming
guys,
on.
man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's refreshing, dude. And just give you a fun fact. I used to work for the city of Lakewood, Park and Rec. I was a terrible employee.
Who was your boss? Valerie Frost?
I can't remember. It was so long. It was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. I'm gonna be honest, I was like 17, I was a terrible employee.
So Valerie Frost was probably there when you were there, and she is now the big kahuna there, the big Parks and Rec director.
Oh, really? What? There was a guy. I can't remember. They used to have Totally Friday Night, over there.
Yeah.
Do they still do that?
I think they do. Yeah.
Oh wow.
They do, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm just throw it there. I work for Lakewood. I was not. I'm
it's
just.
okay.
You learn and you grow.
Yeah, exactly right.
Everyone can change, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah. Learn from my mistakes, people. Show up to work when you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But hey, we do a Let's Go on 3, so we're gonna do that right now. Again, thank you so much, Ariel, Ari, Mayor of Lakewood. You're the man, dude. Seriously, appreciate you a lot, dude. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in. If you liked what you just listened to, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Please follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And a big shout out to Stephen Clark, our sound editor. He's a huge part of this team that is unseen. It's 89 Barbers, our first sponsor. Look good, feel good, be great. That's 2 locations, Orange, California, and Long Beach, California. Book your appointment online, 89barbers.com. Bye, everybody.